Last time on the Rock Band Iceberg.
Andy snuck the song in and was promptly fired for the act of defiance. Holy shit! No wonder they don't make any sense. That guy must have gone insane during all of this.
Alice Cooper, vengeance is mine.
I really hope they gave this dude a raise afterwards. Or therapy. I'm gonna make the executive decision here to move past Tier 7 and see what we'll be able to find. Let's explore the depths that we'll just call Tier 8, the final tier. There is no telling what we'll find down here. Okay everyone, welcome back. This is the Rock Band Iceberg Part 3. If you have somehow managed to get to this part without knowing what Rock Band or what an iceberg is, I highly recommend you check out Part 2. And like you saw in that little clip show right there, we are going to be starting from the final tier, Tier 8. So, without further ado, let us explore. What the f*** is that? Pigfuckerwee.txt. Yes, you read that right. Deep in the files of LEGO Rock Band, that's right, LEGO Rock Band is a text file named pigfuckerwee.txt, left on disk and apparently is related to a similarly labeled audio file. It ultimately goes unused since the audio file it directs to is nowhere to be found, and apparently it was never even meant to be used since it's in a folder specifically stating to not use this and other text files. That is hilarious. Like yes, it's not used, but just the idea of such a vulgar sounding file existing on an E-rated LEGO game in the first place, even out of sight, it's just so funny. Harmonix devs can swear in their Discord server. An official Discord server for Harmonix exists. It's a little dead, but it's out there if you want to join for whatever reason. Anyways, it exists, and that server has restrictions just like any other server, with one being on profanity. I don't know how much of a concrete rule this is because I have actually seen some messages where people do swear and they are still existing on the server. People have mentioned being able to swear again, so yeah, not too sure. I also haven't really seen any Harmonix developers like swearing themselves, so if anything, it feels like maybe the Harmonix developers are not allowed to swear here and everyone else can. Big Rock endings are fully charted. You know Big Rock endings, right? We've talked about it in the past, but you know, if you need a refresher, here you go. They're the moments at the end of certain songs where the fret lanes all light up and you go absolutely apeshit on your instrument for extra points. No notes exist that you have to hit outside of the ones at the very end. But what if I told you that was not entirely true? If you were to strip songs of their Big Rock endings, you will see that every single random note that the musicians shred during the ending is fully charted. This, I think, is the case because the band member animations go off of the song charts, at least partially, so the charting was a necessity even if players wouldn't play or even see it. Some of these parts go way too crazy and can even reach the point of near unplayability if we're talking about songs like Buddy Tsapfa. Look at what I have to play! Can you blame me for f***ing failing this? Rock Band 3's deadly sound glitch. Lying within Rock Band 3 is a very disturbing glitch that happens seemingly at random. You could be playing the game normally for 5, 10, 20, however many minutes, then suddenly, you'll hear an ear-piercing noise that seems better suited for a sci-fi movie than a Rock Band game. Like I said, this would happen randomly during play, and when I say it's ear-piercing, I mean it. It overpowers the game sound, and seemingly even the TV volume, with the noise being like 3 times louder than what I set the TV to. And after it goes off, everything in the game is lightly muffled before going back to normal a few seconds later. It's hard to tell if it's like a software thing or if the noise is just that loud. This glitch sucks, but what makes it deadly? Well, according to this comment on a YouTube video documenting the glitch, the commenter states that while they were playing, the glitch happened and it gave their dog a seizure, causing it to fall down the stairs of their home and become paralyzed. Due to the severity of its injuries, the family ended up having to put it down. If this 15-year-old comment on some random YouTube video is to be believed, not only is this glitch in Rock Band 3 harmful to your ears, it could potentially even be harmful to your life. Rock Band 2 Unused Box Art. Back in mid-2008, a survey was conducted by Listen Research that asked participants to choose between two box arts for Rock Band 2 that would attract them in a store and fit the description of the game. The first box art was the one that would eventually become the official box art, and the second one was another that would eventually go unused. It followed a similar layout to the first box art, but was much more simple, having a white background instead of the full venue that you could see in the first one. Honestly, to me, it looks unfinished and a bit bland. So good call on everybody for choosing the first box art and Harmonix sticking to that decision. It does have a type of appeal though. Maybe it could have been used for like some promo material or something, just not as something that will be on store shelves. Brass and Pocket's genre. According to the Iceberg's author, the cover of the Pretenders song Brass and Pocket previously had the genre of pop, which is an unsupported genre in the original Rock Band, where the song was released as DLC. Now this is true, but there's a little bit more to it. Brass and Pocket, as well as some DLC songs by The Police and a song pack associated with The Police, all had unsupported genre tags, leading to them not being listed when sorting your songs by genre. The DLC songs and pack were updated in early 2008, requiring you to delete the affected DLCs, then re-download the fixed versions. American Woman, Rock Band 1. In a Harmonix blog post circa 2011, the Guess Who's song, American Woman, made an appearance alongside Black Hole Sun and the cover for Paranoid in early versions of Rock Band 1 that were used by factory workers to test instruments during the assembly process. Paranoid and Black Hole Sun are not too out of the ordinary, but American Woman is, since it was a song that was a part of Rock Band 2's set list. Considering they specified that Paranoid was a cover version, one could only assume that this was the master track for American Woman. It's hard to say if the song was meant to be a part of Rock Band 1's set list or as DLC, but whatever the case, still a pretty interesting oddity that happened to slip by into that blog post. Rush suck. Now, this is nothing against Rush. I actually really like the band. They got some great songs, but while they do make some pretty good music, they're not so great at playing that music, at least in Rock Band. A video of the band backstage at the Colbert Report shows them attempting to play Tom Sawyer in Rock Band 1, failing in quite an amusing fashion. They were incredibly good sports about the whole thing though, joking around and saying that the crowd hates them and that they suck. It's honestly kind of adorable. And it's not very common to see a highly regarded band from back then like Rush acknowledge Rock Band and their songs being used in the game in such a way, even if it does show us that we probably shouldn't invite them to a Rock Band party anytime soon. Rock Band 4 Crossplay Incident. In 2021, a Redditor by the name of Willie Ray PR was playing Rock Band 4 online on his PlayStation 4. He created a new session, and within moments, he noticed a player join almost instantaneously. The name was one that he recognized, but despite being a familiar face, their presence disturbed them. You see, this new player was an Xbox user. He also goes on to elaborate that Xbox gamer tags are allowed to have spaces in them, which you can see in the name of the player, but PSN IDs are not. Rock Band 4 didn't release with cross-platform online play, so what was going on here? Another commenter theorized that Harmonix may have been planning to make cross-platform multiplayer available for the anniversary update for that year. Perhaps they were doing some live on-the-field testing to see how it would play out in real-world use? The game never ended up getting updated for cross-platform multiplayer, and as far as I could see, there was never any other instance of this happening in normal online play. For all we know, this may have been the one and only time that Harmonix did real-world testing for this feature that was never meant to be. Rock Band 2. In the background of this picture showing off an eyeball effigy made by Neversoft is a piece of Rock Band 2's special edition box, but it's altered to say Rock Band 2. There's not much to this entry, it's just a little silly jab that Neversoft made towards the competition. Let's be honest with ourselves, what can we really expect from the studio with a boner joke as their name? Harmonix ended up getting the last laugh though, since this picture was taken during the closing of Neversoft's studios, where they burned the eyeball effigy and shot arrows at it right before being put into the Call of Duty mines. Well, now that I think about it, did Harmonix really get the last laugh? Real guitar is easier. This is mainly just a joke entry. Playing guitar and, by extension, bass in Rock Band is significantly easier compared to playing the real thing. There's only 5 areas that your fingers need to be compared to the over 30 that an actual guitar or bass has. And chords are just a whole different story altogether. But the other way around can sometimes occur. Take, for example, the song Antibodies in Rock Band 3. Like we said earlier, this is a Tier 2 song that many people consider to be horrifically under-tiered. The awkward finger gymnastics that the song asks of you is just too much, and honestly, I can't play it at all. But on Pro Guitar, it's a whole different story. The hand and finger positions are just so much more manageable, and the strumming pattern is a breeze. Even during the dreaded latter half of the song, playing the real thing is easier in this instance. It's rare, but it can happen. Rock Band 1 abridged solo vocal songs. If you're playing vocals by yourself on certain songs in Rock Band 1, the game may skip long instrumental portions where there are no vocals to get you right back into the action. Instances of this include Foreplay Long Time and Greengrass and High Tides, where the game just up and skips the intros entirely. These abridged versions are exclusive to Rock Band 1 and are not exportable to other games in the series. And past Rock Band 1, Harmonix never did abridged songs for solo vocals ever again. Juice's original release. In April 2020, Harmonix released Lizzo's song, Juice, for Rock Band 4. However, just as quick as it was released, it was pulled from the marketplace because the song was put out featuring not just the word bitch, but a specific word that I am not personally able to say at all. Completely uncensored. It was eventually put back up on the store the week after, but not without a ton of media coverage and many memes. Ironically, this may have been the most topical that Rock Band had ever been since 2008. Just how does this happen? It's not even just that they accidentally left it in the vocal audio, it's fully charted too. It was a conscious decision the charters made. Definitely not a conscious one to make it available on the store, but you know, what can you say? Guns N' Roses falling out. In the background of 2008, Harmonix was slowly working on bringing in Guns N' Roses' older discography as DLC. It was a slow process that was intended to follow up Shackler's Revenge appearing on disc for Rock Band 2 and the rest of Guns N' Roses' newest album, Chinese Democracy, as DLC. As everything was coming along smoothly and they were getting into the good graces of the band, a video was posted online in July 2008 by future video game journalist Dan Rickard that causes all of this trust to fall apart. In the video, Dan secretly records himself talking to a Harmonix developer that talks about upcoming Guns N' Roses DLC to follow Chinese Democracy, hinting at earlier albums like Appetite for Destruction and the Use Your Illusion double albums. This, however, was all an elaborate prank by Dan and his friend to mess with both Rock Band and Guns N' Roses fans online. The prank backfired horrifically as it spread like wildfire, reaching many media outlets and even Harmonix themselves, where they vehemently denied their association with the fake Harmonix employee. And they had good reason, because this was what was actually being worked on, at least partially. The band itself eventually became aware of the leak, assumed that Harmonix had broken NDA, and pulled out from future business with them after the Chinese Democracy full album DLC. Guns N' Roses would never appear on another Harmonix-developed rhythm game for over 15 years, until Fortnite Festival in 2024, where we finally got songs like Welcome to the Jungle and Sweet Child of Mine as jam tracks. If I Needed Someone Wii chart. On the Wii version of If I Needed Someone, there are some changes in the guitar chart that differentiate it from the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions. They are incredibly small, like a note being added or removed in certain spots during the song. That's really it. If you're not grinding the song or anything, you likely won't ever even notice it at all. Because of how minor the changes are, it's simply believed to be a mistake made during the process of porting the game over to the Wii. It kinda reminds me of that Guitar Hero chart of Freebird that is different for some reason on the Wii version, but this is like a way more tame version compared to that. As far as I could tell, I believe that this is strictly just an isolated incident, and there are no other charts on the Wii version of Beatles Rock Band that have any alterations that make it different from the 360 and PS3 versions. Jessica's Missing Measure. The Allman Brothers Band song, Jessica, appeared as a DLC song during the Rock Band 3 era, and it did so with a slightly shorter length. A portion before the guitar solo, as well as before the big rock ending, have been cut out for I'm not sure what reason. The missing portions are both a measure or too long, as the name of the entry suggests, so my only good guess is that this is due to the master tracks that Harmonix received. Perhaps the missing measures were on another master track that were too damaged for use? I don't know, that's just my guess. Harmonix inherently saved masters from the 2008 UMG fires. On June 1st, 2008, a large fire started in the backlot of Universal Studios in Hollywood. After 24 hours, the fire was fully extinguished, but not without major damages sustained to sets for Universal films and TV shows, park attractions, legal papers, as well as tens of thousands of archived copies of media, some dating back to over a century old. Among them was over 100,000 master tapes that were in possession of Universal Music Group. These tapes included many musical artists by the likes of Nirvana, Soundgarden, and many others. It was one of the most tragic losses of archived media in American history, and will be felt in the world of media preservation for decades to come. Though, while small, there is a glimmer of hope lying in the darkness. Due to the use of isolated instruments in the Rock Band series, Harmonix may be in possession of numerous master track copies that may have avoided being lost in the Universal fires. Since Rock Band hadn't been around for much time before the incident, likely a year or so, the saved master tracks may be very few, if nothing at all. Please remember, this entry is entirely speculative. There was no statement from a Harmonix employee or any kind of representative that I could find, so all we can really do with this entry is to take it all with a grain of salt. I would want to be optimistic here, but there is no guarantee. The following entry deals with incredibly sensitive and heavy topics that may make some viewers uncomfortable. So if you wish to skip this entry, here is a timestamp for the next one. Now, with that warning made clear, let us move forward. Our next entry is Rooftops. Rooftops, a Liberation broadcast, is a song by the band Lost Prophets, and it was featured on the on-disc set list for Lego Rock Band. The song itself is a typical rock song of the time, and on its own is nothing special. However, the reason that it bears any significance is due to the band itself, specifically their lead singer Ian Watkins. Ian Watkins was a convicted sex offender who was found guilty of numerous crimes, including sexual assault on children, as well as pornographic material involving an animal, and conspiring to rape an infant. In 2013, he was sentenced to 29 years in prison, an insultingly short time for someone as evil as him. 12 years later, in October of 2025, he was stabbed in the neck by another inmate and died shortly thereafter. This monster may no longer be on this earth, but the stains that they have left on it through their horrendous actions will never be washed away. And the song Rooftops is just one of those stains, forever tainting a product that was made to cater towards children. It's cruelly ironic, but there was no way anyone at Harmonix could have known at the time. But now we all know. The Freebird Piano Mystery. Freebird is a song by the band Lynyrd Skynyrd. It is, with little to no exaggeration, a cultural touchstone known worldwide by even the most casual of music listeners. Everyone is familiar with this song, which is why its inclusion in Rock Band 3 was celebrated. But the version that was included in the game was rather unusual. And that statement in itself is unusual because this was the album version, the most popular rendition of the song. But if you listen very closely, you'll hear that there are some striking differences. In the Rock Band 3 version, there is a prominent piano that plays throughout the entire song, something that is not true for the album version. In that one, the piano only plays at the very start of the intro, then bows out shortly after. Where did this missing piano come from? Our only lead about this song being different in some way comes from the game manual, where it labels the song as a live version of Freebird. Since the song is clearly the album version, this may have just been a misprint and can be ruled out as not true. Unfortunately, this leaves us on our own, but thankfully, the search really isn't a long one. Now, if we look at this demo for Freebird, titled as 1973/live demo version on YouTube, you'll hear a piano that sounds very familiar to the one featured in the Rock Band 3 version. Due to the quality of the recording and the way that it's mixed, it's hard to tell for certain if this is where the piano stem from Rock Band 3 stems from. Looking a bit deeper on YouTube, I was able to find an upload from 2014 of a fully isolated stem of the piano in very high quality, and upon listening, we may potentially have our culprit. There are no weird cuts, miscellaneous instruments, or other oddities that come from typical rock band stems. It's just the one singular instrument and some studio chatter at the very start. The intro sounds a little off compared to the album version, but everything that wasn't in that version, i.e. literally the rest of the isolated track, sounds almost spot on with Rock Band's version. Where this isolated track came from, along with other tracks I found of the song, is something that I can't easily state. Perhaps they may have leaked out. We're rambling on at this point, so allow me to just bring it all together now of what I think is going on here. Harmonix may have hodgepodged some piano stems from the Freebird master tracks to create the one used in-game. I say this since the piano in the intro to the isolated piano track does not sound like the piano that is audible in the intro for the song's album version, which is in itself identical to the Rock Band version's intro. Everything past the intro, though, may be the isolated track I found, or even just another take of that one. Why this full piano track wasn't used in the album version, I don't know. Maybe the band didn't like how it sounded, who knows? All I know is that I just want to move on to a different entry now. Dude, talking about Freebird and isolated tracks and versions, it's just making me feel like I'm going crazy. And it's honestly giving me a headache. When I was writing this entry, I was getting a huge headache just doing all of like the research and stuff, and just talking about it, just doing the voiceover for the entry. It's just bringing that headache back. Let's move on, shall we? You can whammy on Pro Guitar. I found this out while recording the autoplay footage for Rock Band 3. So during some of the Pro Guitar gameplay, I got a little bit bored watching, so I started futzing around with my controller, and when I hit the left stick, which is the whammy for when you're playing guitar on your controller, I heard that signature pitch bending sound effect, which freaked me the hell out. Whamming actually seems to work the exact same as it does in normal guitar or bass gameplay. I have no clue why this is the case. Maybe it's just the way that the engine handles sustains as a whole, but it's just really insane to see on an instrument where you are not able to or ever expected to do so by the developers. I might actually be the first person to ever talk about this ever. In the year 2026, we're still learning about stuff about Rock Band 3. Oh my god. Rock Band 2 Portable. Found in the files of a prototype for the PSP spin-off game Rock Band Unplugged were unused assets that pointed to it just straight up being called Rock Band 2, similar to the DS versions of Lego Rock Band and Rock Band 3. There were even meant to be way more on-disc songs from Rock Band 2 on the soundtrack, likely the whole soundtrack, before they ended up deciding on a mix of songs from 2 and from DLC, with some songs actually being exclusive to Unplugged for a time. I'm kinda glad they decided against naming it just Rock Band 2. That way the game could have its own identity. Like, yes, the game's art direction and set list are literally just ripped straight from 2, but that's where the similarities end. The gameplay is totally different, and calling it just Rock Band 2 would have detracted from that and made people likely just dismiss it altogether. Also, Unplugged is such an ingenious name for a portable Rock Band game. They were cooking freaking hard with that name. God, it's so genius. I freaking love it. Yeah, go ahead, laugh it up that I'm simping for the silly spin-off game everyone forgot. But hey man, it's one worth simping for. I freaking love Unplugged. It's such a great adaptation of Rock Band's gameplay, and I'm so surprised that it never came to consoles. At least we have Festival. Escape from the Rock Band network. Crush 40, a band that is famous for their soundtrack contributions to modern Sonic the Hedgehog games, were announced to have 4 songs heading to the Rock Band network via the publisher Ozone Entertainment. It wasn't stated, but it was highly likely that the songs were ones from the Sonic games. This was an exciting announcement since many of those songs are not only iconic, but would have fit perfectly in the Rock Band series. However, just like the Smashing Pumpkins, the announcement was made and then nothing came from it. In a 2010 interview with Owen Douglas, owner of Ozone Entertainment, he discussed what happened with the plans to bring Crush 40 to the network, and, well, let's just say Owen had some less than stellar things to say about Sega and members of the band. Supposedly, Sega said they wanted all profits made from the DLC, with none going to Ozone, which apparently Owen and Ozone Entertainment were fine with that. He was then ghosted by the guitarist of Crush 40 for over 6 months, and during that time, the band publicly stated that they want their songs in the games. Then another 6 months passed by with no communication. Needless to say, Owen gave up on Sega and ended up making his frustrations public on Twitter, and of course, in the article. After all of the dust settled, he expressed his regrets to how he conducted himself and apologized to the members of the band, though he reassured that his view of how Sega handled everything still held true. In that same article, Owen claimed that he believed nothing will come from the deal, so he ended up just stating what songs were planned for the Rock Band network. Despite the announcement saying 4 songs, he only shared 3 of them: Open Your Heart, Live and Learn, and Night of the Wind. Just reading those off was painful because they would have been perfect for Rock Band, especially Live and Learn. That's like my favorite Sonic song. Well, since Fortnite has had many collaborations with even the strangest of media properties, maybe Sonic could be a possibility? Hopefully by that time, Sega will have finally removed their head from their ass. Hot Work. In 2009, 3 songs by the band Hot Work, a band that I'm pretty sure that you've heard of. You know, Hot Work, they're not that big. But a member of the band is John Hall, who is the CEO of Rickenbacker, a guitar brand. In order to get Rickenbacker guitars into the Beatles' Rock Band, a deal was struck to include songs from Hall's band, along with the other stuff that goes into licensing out things like this. Honestly, a pretty clever way to get your band's name out there, even if for the most part whenever people read the name of your band, they're wondering, who the hell is this? Josh is now trapped in the cyber. This is an alternate reality game. An ARG, if you will, started by Harmonix with a very strange Twitch stream, with a full band performance of a song by the fictional Dr. G. Ehrman titled Experiment CY83R, Do Not Play, and in parentheses, Not Final. The band plays the song, which just sounds like a bunch of noise, and when the song ends, then Harmonix employee at the time, Josh Harrison, gets hit with electricity and is sucked into what is known as the Cyber. It seems very silly though, which fits with Harmonix's general tongue-in-cheek attitude. It was kind of hard getting information about this, and even now I don't even know if I got enough information. I hope that Josh ended up getting out of the Cyber. Rock Band 4 Amazon reviews. Reviewing games isn't a sacred art that only professional game journalists or weirdos on YouTube are capable of. Thanks to websites like Amazon that let users review products they bought, even the everyman can make their voice heard about games like Rock Band 4. Though there was talk around the time of Rock Band 4's release that some of those reviews weren't actually made by the everyman. By digging deeper into the users in question, people were able to find the real names of the users, which matched a few people working at Harmonix. As the news spread more and more, Harmonix would eventually make a statement about the situation, confirming that these specific reviews were indeed made by employees. They stated that while they may have had some good intentions, they did not condone it and asked for either the reviews to be removed or for them to be updated to make it known that a Harmonix employee had written it. User reviews really aren't the end-all be-all of like a video game or whatever, but that's still pretty scummy of people to do, even if it was with good intentions. So good on Harmonix for at least trying to take some accountability for their employees. Rock Band Network Mega Mix 2. Rock Band Network Mega Mix 1 is a song that is pretty much just a collection of several standout songs from the service. There's a narrator that introduces the collection and songs, sometimes making comments along the way, almost like a radio DJ. It's a fan favorite from the network and is one of, if not the only platform-exclusive song, only being available on the Xbox versions of Rock Band Network and Rock Band 4. Now, that little number at the end of the title, 1, that is an indication that Harmonix, or whoever it was that put the song together, had intentions to make this a series, or at the very least, one more to follow up on Mega Mix 1, which never came to be. Or so we thought. In 2024, the YouTuber Big Body found on the Internet Archive a preserved copy of the YouTube link hosting the long-lost and forgotten Rock Band Network Mega Mix 2, re-uploading it on their own channel. There was never any chart or stems for this song, with the original preserved video description stating that it was just meant to be a proof of concept. Even if it's merely just an audio file, it's still a huge find for both the Rock Band community and just the general lost media community. And there being no stems hasn't stopped charters in the community from making custom songs, which means, yeah, you can actually go out there and download and play Mega Mix 2 now if you want. This is one of the later Iceberg entries. Like, I learned about this on... It's the 17th. I learned about this on April 16th of 2026, so I'm already well in, deep into the Rock Band Iceberg, editing it and stuff like that. And I just happened across the video on my homepage, and I looked into it, but yeah, I just found out about this, and it's a big deal, and I wanted to, include it in the Iceberg because of just that. The Infinite Set List. This may be, quite possibly, the most ridiculous objective in Rock Band history. One I'm certain no human will ever accomplish in our lifetimes. It's never even been spoken about on the internet as far as I can tell, until now. The Infinite Set List. Rock Band 1, Rock Band 2, and Rock Band 3. All in a single set list. 225 songs. Over 15 hours, no fails allowed. May God have mercy on the poor souls that attempt such a fool's errand. I found this while looking through my song list in Rock Band 3 Deluxe, so I'm unsure if it's a Harmonix created set list or one that was added by Milo Hacks, but whatever its origin, it's f***ing insane. So sure, you can actually pause during this challenge unlike Bladder of Steel, but even with that luxury, I truly do not think that anyone will be willing to beat this thing. And that's coming from someone who played over 14 hours of Dead Rising with his friends to get an achievement back in 2017. The Infinite Set List is absolutely doable, but 15 hours of Rock Band song after Rock Band song, That sounds like Guantanamo Bay shit right there. And you also have to consider that there's a pause between songs after you beat them, and since there's 225 songs, that 15 hours is going to add up to 16, potentially even 17 hours. So even longer than it states on the freaking menu. No one is going to want to do this. And I stand by this statement. No one will ever do it. If you want to prove me wrong and rub it in my face or whatever, go ahead, but just remember what you're getting yourself into. This is not going to be an easy feat, my friend. Also, there's no achievement for this, so it's purely going to be just for personal gratification and brownie points. Lost DLC. Like all forms of entertainment, Rock Band is no stranger to lost media. Take, for example, the Who's Next and Pet Sounds full albums as DLC that we talked about earlier. Outside of these two being mentioned directly or indirectly by Harmonix, there really wasn't anything else to them, just like every other cancelled DLC. But once every blue moon, that isn't always the case. In OXM, the official Xbox magazine, there was a page showcasing Rock Band's DLC schedule for March of 2008. According to MTV and Harmonix representatives, it was only a tentative schedule, which certainly shows in some spots. Shooting Star ended up as a master track in Rock Band 2, worlds different than its original fate as cover song DLC. It wasn't accurate, and that's glaringly obvious in the final week down here. 3 songs that never saw the light in any way, shape, or form. Wrathchild by Iron Maiden, Supernaut by Black Sabbath, and finally, Feel by Metallica. The first 2 were cover versions, and the last song, Feel, a master track. They were to be part of a bundle called the Metal 3-Pack, but both the pack or the individual songs never appeared in any way, shape, or form. Officially. A practically finished version of Fuel was included as a part of the Terra Release 3.0, a mass dump of primarily Xbox 360 dev kits. Along with Fuel, another chart from Metallica's King Nothing was also found, a song that was never even announced for release. Supernaut and Wrathchild are nowhere to be found, but the insane find that is King Nothing more than makes up for that. And to add on to these findings, there were 3 more songs found on another 360 dev kit, all never announced by Harmonix and all cover versions. Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones, Come As You Are by Nirvana, and We Care a Lot by Faith No More. Brown Sugar was rumored to be included in a Rolling Stones themed pack called Get Stoned. Come As You Are and We Care a Lot did end up having their master tracks released as DLC, though Come As You Are was a live version from Nirvana's MTV Unplugged album. While we have the real things now, seeing these cover songs come to light is like watching an alternate timeline merging into our own. Same goes for every other lost song that has come to light. I barely scratched the surface here. A 2009 re-record of Sister Christian, and an alternate version of Crazy Train from Rock Band 3's beta, L'Aventura by Indochine, also in the Terra release, which was supposed to be in Rock Band 1's European version. 2 builds for a 2009 re-record of Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics, used at a PAX demo showcase for Rock Band Network. And speaking of Rock Band Network songs, there is a ton of those that just fell through the cracks during the service's history. The list is long for all the lost Rock Band songs that have been found, and I'm sure it's only going to grow in the years to come. They've all thankfully have been preserved by fans and fully playable for anyone that's curious about what could have been. Now, you may have thought that entry we just talked about was pretty interesting. However, we have reached the final entry of this tier, and let me tell you, things are just getting good. The final entry in this tier, as well as the final entry of the Rock Band Iceberg as a whole, is Party in the USA. It's June 2010. Summer is just getting started. Your first year of high school is finally over, and you're excited to spend your break drinking ice-cold Pepsis and playing Rock Band 2 with your friends. And to start your break off strong, Harmonix had a special DLC announcement that you and the community were not expecting. They revealed that 5 songs by Miley Cyrus are slated for release in the Rock Band Music Store that same month. The songs are Can't Be Tamed, Start All Over, See You Again, Fly on the Wall, and 7 Things. Like most DLC, you could purchase the songs separately or as a pack at a small discount. You personally aren't the biggest fan of Miley, but you think some of her stuff is kinda catchy, and not gonna lie, your setlist has been a bit stale these past few weeks. You say screw it and get the whole pack on release. Even if you don't like them all, at least your little sister will have some music she'll happily play along with you. You install the pack and you feel that all too familiar satisfaction of seeing your setlist grow. As the satisfaction slowly fades, you notice something kinda strange. There's not 5 new songs in your Rock Band library. There are 6. According to Myth, if you had purchased the Miley Cyrus pack and installed it right after its release, you'll find an extra song in your library that was never mentioned in Harmonix's announcement: Party in the USA. Fully charted, separate instrument stems, and 100% playable. Other sources say that it wasn't possible to play on stock hardware, needing a modded console and some file trickery to be able to make it fully playable. Regardless, the jig didn't last long. Not long after it was released, Harmonix patched it out of the pack, of course without a single mention by them. An officially tracked DLC song never meant to be released, but accidentally released. Now, where have we heard that before? So, while Country Roads is similar, that situation is different because we knew that song was supposed to come out. No one knew for this one because Harmonix never said anything about it. Were the rights revoked? Party in the USA was a huge song, so maybe the record company wanted more money than initially offered? A popular theory was that since Rock Band 3 was due for release that year, they, meaning Harmonix, wanted to save it for the on-disc set list. The song alone would have helped tremendously with selling copies, while also making good use of the game's new additions of harmonies as well as keyboards. It would have been a great fit, but alas, all of this is nothing but pure speculation. The only ones who will ever know what happened with the song are Harmonix and perhaps the rights holders. It never made an appearance in a future Rock Band game on disc or even as DLC, and as of the writing of this script, it hasn't even made it onto Fortnite Festival, the game where it would make the most sense being a part of. Party in the USA's relationship with Rock Band and Harmonix as a whole would eventually become just another small, obscure footnote as we looked forward to what Harmonix worked on next. Okay, so all I said for the previous entry is just stuff that I managed to scrounge up when searching on this topic. Everything that I found. The story, people talking about the story, forum posts, and the original forum post that links to the original 2010 gameplay video. Information is scarce, which makes a case like this a bit difficult to cover, and more importantly, trust. Like, what if all this was just one big elaborate hoax made by a community member or members just to cause a little chaos then and now? It's entirely possible. There are some talented people that are into Rock Band. It could totally happen. Alright, let's think about it. Rock Band Network entered closed beta in March of 2009, a few months before Party in the USA dropped in August of that same year. During those months, I could see someone getting well acquainted with Rock Band Network's tools who would then may be interested in making a chart for the summer song of that year. But of course, okay, so this was the beta of Rock Band Network. There likely weren't many people in the beta that would be interested in working on it. The player base tends to skew away from stuff like Miley Cyrus. Let's fast forward to the actual full release of Rock Band Network in March of 2010. Now, these tools are in the hands of a lot more people, a larger chance of someone being into both pop music and rhythm game charting. And as we know, June of 2010 was when the Miley Cyrus pack dropped. And when that came and went without probably one of her biggest songs up to that point, perhaps someone got an idea. An idea to fill that void left by Harmonix, and then some, to create a whole story around that chart, spread it via a post on GameFAQs, and then watch people talk. Why? Why not? But then that raises the question, how does this Rock Band Network song show up as a paid official DLC? The icon isn't the Rock Band Network one, right? Custom songs are a thing. According to the uploader, they said you need a JTAG console. Perhaps they could have modified an existing song to have their Rock Band Network charting and metadata for Party. And we're talking a lot, so I'll just shorten it to Party if I ever need to bring it up. But yeah, the metadata and stuff is changed to Party. That's all plausible. But the biggest sticking point I'm sure that you are thinking about is, hey, this track has all of the separated stems for the song. There is no way in hell an average Joe like you or me or anyone in the community could have access to these. That's what you think, but stuff like that has leaked out before many a times for many different kinds of songs. Demos, stems, you name it. And you may say, Wolf, this is a new song. How the f*** can that leak out? That isn't a disqualification. I mean, there's been concerts and performances from like Super Bowl halftime shows that get out the day after it was broadcast. If it could happen to Bad Bunny, it could happen to anyone. You may think I sound crazy, and I probably do, but isn't it fishy that there's only been just that old video and the GameFAQs post that talked about this back then? Also, why are there conflicting stories about how to access the song? Why do some people say you can do it legit and others you need a JTAG Xbox? How come no previous Harmonix employees have talked about this like at all? If we could hear about things like Pet Sounds and Hot Work, a band that I'm pretty sure Hot Work themselves doesn't even know about, then why hasn't a single peep came out about the freaking Party situation? Isn't that a bit curious, eh? Why? Why is this song so damn obscure? Why is there no 100% proof? Why won't someone come out and set the record straight? I want to believe, but when there's nothing concrete to believe in, that's just blind faith. And I ain't no follower of Cyrus-Chianity. Party in the USA was fake, and until we get some proper evidence, then I can't and won't believe it. Tinfoil hat off. This entry, I'm assuming, is a sort of joke entry. Kind of like the every something something is personalized entries you see in other unrelated icebergs. It's not something that we are really meant to take seriously, because of course, Party exists. It was in that video from over 15 years ago, and here it is in my Rock Band library. As to why anyone would think that it's all a big hoax, I can kind of understand that. However, we have to take into account all of the other strange incidents similar to this that have occurred in the past. Country roads, like I said, Juice, the weird Lego Rock Band Christmas outfits. We can even bring up the official lost DLCs that were completed but just never released for whatever reason, like the Metallica and Wave Group songs. Party in the USA looks to be in a similar situation. Going off of all of that, I think it might be safe to say that Occam's Razor applies here. I'd prefer if someone on the inside came out and cleared the air for all of us, but with what we currently have right now, I feel safe in believing that this track, Party in the USA, is an official Harmonix creation. As for you, the one who is watching, I'm gonna leave that up for you to decide. Is Party in the USA real? Do you think that you can believe it? Or not? And that is it for part 3 of the Rock Band Iceberg, and ultimately, for the Rock Band Iceberg altogether. Thank you all so very much for watching all the way through. I know this has been a long one, and I'm very honored that you gave me your time. And I gotta say a big thank you to everyone that was waiting for part 2 and 3 in general. These videos took like 2 years to materialize, and probably like 4 years actually, since I had a few of those entries written up like way back in like 2022, late 2021. It took a long time for it to all come around, and it's not entirely based on just how much work it was to make the iceberg, but just I wanted to move away from it and work on other things, explore other types of content. It took like several months to finish up part 1, and really I didn't want to do that again so soon after. I also got sick of Rock Band, to be honest. Seeing it, talking about it, writing about it. Now, I think it probably should have taken me like 2 years to make the second and now third part, but well, here we are. Also, I guess it had to do with, I was a little bit disappointed with how part 1 came out. I really feel like my writing was not up to snuff, not just compared to now, but like a couple days or so after it released. As well as while working through it. During the production of part 1, I was like cringing at a lot of it. There was just too much forced humor, and many of the entries had a lot of rambling that just really grinded my gears. I don't know why I didn't cut it out. Maybe just so I could have it be like a long video and stuff. Yeah, also the visuals, while kind of cool, it wasted so much freaking time and resources that made the whole thing just take a lot longer than it should have. That's why these parts right here, parts 2 and 3, are so much more stripped down. They're less fancy and just straight to the point. Some of the entries may have been a bit more on the rambly side, and likely ones I wrote back in like 2022, but overall I am much more proud of these parts than I was part 1, and think it's objectively better. Whether or not it makes me cringe a month or year down the line is up in the air, but whatever. That's part of the reason why I recommended any new viewers to watch part 2 instead of having to go back to part 1. Anyways, wow, that is a ramble if I've ever heard one. At least it's at the end of the video instead of any of the entries. So I may make a combined part 1, 2, and 3 video, like the full package, but do not expect that anytime soon. Reason for that is I'd want to potentially remake part 1, or at least cut it up so it's in a similar style to these ones. So yeah, that's like a whole nother part that I'd have to work on right there. So yeah. Also, man, I hate to be such a drag in this conclusion, but I just have to be real. I think one of the other reasons I didn't really want to work on this iceberg again after part 1, at least anytime soon, was just how unsuccessful part 1 was. To me, at least. When I have videos that are like 14 minutes long, 20 minutes long, that take less time to make and are on varying topics, and they're doing like analytic numbers that are like 10 to 15 times that which Rock Band Iceberg Part 1 got, I just, you know, I hate to sound like I'm chasing numbers and money, but the months of work I put in just didn't feel like it was worth the outcome, especially when I could be making much easier videos that have shorter turnaround times. I'm sorry. You can call me superficial. I mean, I am a YouTuber, so I likely am in some ways, but I sound like such a downer. Even if I say all that, though, I still don't regret working on Rock Band Iceberg Part 2, 3, and even 1. I do think Part 1 helped with figuring out the rights and wrongs of writing, presentation, etc. It was a learning experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. A learning experience just like everything else that I have put out then and now, including parts 2 and 3 of this iceberg. I don't really have much more to talk about outside of venting my frustrations about part 1, and I will not continue to subject you all to more of that. If you happen to stay to listen to my creative angst and frustrations, comment slimy spaghetti surprise so I know which of yous are the super dedicated fellows. Thanks so much for watching and providing me with your time and attention. It means the absolute world to me. When I say that, I truly do mean it. Just anyone watching me, it's crazy to think that anyone wants to listen to me, you know? Especially when I shit on work that people have been wanting a sequel to for so long. That's all right. That's it. No more talking about part 1. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, it really does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I, have not been able to deliver in some ways. I'm trying to do the best that I can, trying to do the best that I think I should be doing. I really, really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, do consider liking it and perhaps maybe even subscribing to me if you want. I make long-form videos primarily about video games and things that I personally find fascinating about video games. I hope to see you around again, and I hope that you have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Wolf397 out. I'm finally done.